Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming out on this beautiful sunny day when I'm sure you have lots of other things that you could be doing. We really value your time and your desire to work with us here at the district. My name is Dakota Stranik. I am relatively new at the district. I started almost a little over a year ago, January of last year. You may have seen me tagging along with Chris on some of his projects, helping with surveying and customer meetings. I've also been working on some dairy plant updates, and I've had the pleasure of working with a handful of you, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know more of these faces that I'm seeing around the room. Just a brief slide on, Susie touched on this earlier, but what we do at the district overall, and these things that we do also within the dairy program. We do technical assistance, community education and outreach. That's both to the farming community and to the more urban communities. So trying to create a balance between those two perspectives, we really try to advocate for the agricultural efforts that are going on and for the value in maintaining that here in our county. We do research and sampling to help you with if you have a question or want to dive deeper into an issue that you might be having on your farm. We can help with that. And two of the areas that I'm going to be focusing on right now in this presentation is farm plans and project funding. One brief slide I wanted to touch on though for part of our outreach and education. A lot of that is focused on smaller farms, but we do through our speaker series at least one dairy event each year, and last year it was soil health on the dairy. It was one of my first main projects that I headed up myself, and Gabe was kind enough to speak at that event as well. You may have seen us out at Troy Linson's farm in Sumas. We had this really great demonstration that we borrowed from NRCS to show rainwater infiltration into various soil types and soil treatments. So short-term or long-term grass field, overgrazed or well-managed pasture, and we threw in a potato field for kicks. So if you would like to see that whole presentation was filmed and you can see the simulator in action, please go to the our YouTube page. You can find it by just Googling soil health on the dairy, and I can give you the direct link later if you would like to chat with me at lunch or send me an email sometime. I'm happy to connect you with that. So things that I'll be talking about are, so when might you need an update? What is the process to updating your dairy nutrient management plan? How long does it take? What sort of information will you need to provide, and how is it useful to you? So we have a little poll here again, so pull out your phones one more time. A lot of our planning so the dairy plan, as you know, is required by a WSDA, but we are here as a resource for you in getting that plan, making sure it's updated. But we still are very aware of their requirements and preferences and how you're using that. So here's a question for you. Pull out your phone and tell me at what change in your acreage or animal numbers does WSDA recommend a plan update? I'll give you a few minutes to answer. All right, so again, happy to see that most of you have the right answer. It is 10%. And just one thing to keep in mind there is, logically, it's just a lot easier to make small incremental changes than to do a big overhaul every 10 years. So more efficient for your time and ours, and I would love to just build a relationship with more of you so that you feel comfortable just sending me an email or giving me a call and saying, hey Dakota, I just need to tweak my animal numbers a little bit or tweak my acreage a little bit. It's really simple if that's the case, especially if I've just done an update for you or written a new plan. So my door is always open. I really want to work with more of you, so please get in touch for anything that I can help you with. Sorry, my slides are over there. So some of the things that we'll go over when I'm doing the plan update or writing a new plan is we'll be going over a bunch of different areas of your farm. It's meant to be comprehensive, site-specific for you, and not just a boilerplate thing that you're getting just to meet a requirement. The more detailed and specific it is for your situation and the way that you farm on your land, the more useful it's going to be to you. So we're going to look at really specific things like number of animals, what types of animals you're keeping, different ages, your manure storage, your yields, soil testing records. That's one thing that sometimes on the time of year can be a little problematic if you can't get into your cornfields to get a sample. But we work with you with all of that. The big thing that we're looking at is balancing your capabilities for production with the land that you have, what the nutrient needs are there, and how that is balanced with the nutrients that you have. Do you have enough nutrients to keep those yields high, or do you have too many nutrients despite high yields and need to figure out some sort of storage solution? So those are the kind of details that we're going to be sussing out through the plan, and that kind of helps give you an idea as well of how that plan is going to be useful for you. So this one, I was thinking about doing a poll everywhere, but decided this was better as a rhetorical question. So just go over this and just think to yourself, which of these options are kind of your perspective of how you use your farm plan? So option A, it looks good on my desk. Option B, it's a place to store my records. C, it helps with liability. D, it's required. E, it helps me get funding, and F, it's only helpful if it's accurate. So these are all, they're all right answers, and they're all incomplete answers, because they really go hand in hand. Dairy plan, like I said, it's comprehensive and is multifaceted, so it can help you in many different areas, but I'd say the most important one is that last point, that it's really only helpful if it's accurate, and you know your farm best. So that communication back and forth with your planner and yourself, the farmer, is really key to making sure that we're giving you a valuable product. A lot of our information is online as well, so we have a great website, whatcomcd.org/dairy nutrient management plan. That's a long word, so we've made it easier too. You can reach that same site by typing in WCD/DNMP or WCD/dairy. So a lot of the boilerplate type information, none of your personal information would be online, of course, but if you're looking for resources, it's really a helpful place if you're trying to catch up on setback requirements, that kind of thing. So stepping into cost share opportunities. There's a couple different areas that we focus on at the district. We don't offer funding ourselves, but we are a resource for you in connecting with different funding resources. We work primarily with state and federal cost share. Federal would be EQIP. So first up, state is up to $50,000. It's a little less paperwork, and so slightly faster process. It is truly a cost share. So the producer is going to be paying 25%, and the state is going to be paying 75% of the total project cost. The state will only pay a maximum of up to $50,000. So if the project goes beyond that, the rest is on you as the producer. If the project doesn't go that high, then it's still just going to be delegated in that 25%, 75%. A key thing to remember is that the producer is reimbursed. So you would still have to pay the upfront cost, and then you get a check when the project is completed for that 75%. So there is some legwork to be done to figure out how that funding's how you're going to find those funds if you don't have that on hand temporarily. That money comes through the Washington State Conservation Commission as well, just to be clear. For the federal program, that's available up to $450,000. That's also referred to as EQIP, that program, and it's through NRCS. It's a decent amount more paperwork and a longer process, so it does require some patience on the producer's part, and there's a lot more boxes to check off, so there could be more along the lines of making sure that the project is well thought through along the way. So part of that is you'll need a CNMP, a Comprehensive Nutrient Management Plan. That is the paperwork that we would help you put together, and there are other resources to get a CNMP though if you'd like. And that is going to be the justification to say our farm needs to install these practices because of these resource concerns. So it's not something to be ashamed of that you have some issues on your farm that you're working on. Those just need to be documented so that we can justify those funds being put your way. These payments, aside from the state program, payments in the federal program are by the practice. And so sometimes those practices are covered up to 100%. So there's a little bit more incentive there. You might not have to chip in quite as many funds on your own. One thing to keep in mind is that you do have to build to NRCS standards because it is federal funds and they want to make sure that that project is being put in a way that's going to last. Other considerations to consider, the life of the practice. Each practice has a lifespan that it needs to meet. So there's ongoing operations and maintenance that is expected, and that will be checked up on from time to time. Cultural resources and wetlands delineations are things that could pop up through the planning process, and there could be that could be problematic if you have cultural resources present that will be negatively affected, or if there are wetlands that will be negatively affected. And so that could prompt just a redesign or a change of course for your project. You do have an obligation to complete the project once you've signed it. And so it is something to think about before just jumping in saying, hey, free money. Think about whether or not you're going to be able to follow through and keep that practice up for the life of it. Permitting and county codes still apply, and then there are special higher payments available for historically underserved individuals. So that would usually, where we see that applied is to young farmers, beginning farmers who have been farming for less than 10 years. So if you're taking over the operation, perchance. Here are a few of the examples of best management practices that we can help you put in. So manure tanks, kind of quick and easy one are big guns because those don't usually involve the cultural resources and wetlands issues that we had talked about earlier. So if you get any inspiration from this list, give me a call. If you want to apply to any of these funding resources, there's a little different avenue for each. For the state program, we do send in those applications for you at the Conservation District. So get in touch with me. We have a running list of people who are interested. It is a competitive process and there are limited funds. And then for the federal program, that is through NRCS. So you would apply through them. We are happy to help you with that process as well, and I will be able to help you with the CNMP in particular. Engineering resources, Chris has been wonderful to work with, and I've really enjoyed learning from him in the past. In this last year that I've been here at the district. I am not an engineer, however, so we will be working with Erica Pfeiffer and Tom Sokin for any engineering designs going forward. And there. And finally, here's my contact information. If you feel inspired by any of these potential options for improving your farm plan, updating it, or looking into some funding opportunities, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I would be more than happy to work with you. Thank you.